I watched him carry the last box out of our house like it weighed nothing, like it didn't hold 20 years of my life inside it. My wedding china. My grandmother's quilt. The framed photo of us in front of the courthouse, young and hopeful. He didn't look back, not once. The door closed behind him with a soft click, and in that quiet moment I realized something terrifying. He hadn't just walked away with our things. He had walked away with the story we built together, and I was left standing in the ruins, trying to remember who I was before him. Before we go any further, tell me where you're listening from. Are you at home, in your car, maybe sneaking a moment at work? And if this story touches you in any way, share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And please, if you know someone who needs to hear this, send it to them. My name is Clara, and today I'm telling you about the day my ex-husband walked away with everything after our divorce, and how life had other plans waiting for him. The day he left like that, I didn't cry right away. I stood in the middle of our living room, staring at the pale rectangle on the wall where our wedding photo used to hang. The dust outline was still there, like a ghost of our happiness. My hands felt numb, my chest tight. I could hear the distant hum of traffic outside, the neighbor's dog barking like it was just another ordinary afternoon. But for me, everything had split in two, before that door closed and after. Our house felt hollow, not empty hollow. There's a difference. Empty means there's space. Hollow means something was ripped out. I sat down on the edge of the couch, the one we bought on sale from that furniture store off Route 9. I remember how proud we were, like we'd made it in life because we finally owned a real couch. Now the cushions were flat, the fabric faded, and I was sitting alone listening to the ticking clock on the wall. Tick, tick, tick. It sounded louder than it ever had before. That's when the tears came, slow at first, then all at once. My husband's name was Mark. We met when I was 25, working the front desk at a dental office. He came in for a cleaning, late, flustered, apologizing like it was his fault the world moved too fast. He had kind eyes. That's what I noticed first. Kind eyes and a crooked smile that made you feel like you were in on some private joke. He asked me out 2 weeks later. Coffee turned into dinner. Dinner turned into late-night phone calls. 6 months later he proposed in my tiny apartment kitchen while I was burning grilled cheese. The smoke alarm went off. We laughed so hard we cried. It felt like a sign. Messy, imperfect, but real. Our early years were good, not perfect, but good. We struggled like everyone else. Bills, long hours, broken cars, but we had each other. We would sit on the floor of our living room, eating takeout from plastic containers, talking about dreams. He wanted to start his own business someday. I wanted kids, a house with a porch, a dog. We eventually got most of those things. 2 kids, Emma and Lucas, a modest house with peeling paint on the porch rail, a golden retriever named Buddy who shed like it was his job. Life was loud, busy, full. I worked part-time at a bookstore. Mark climbed the corporate ladder at a logistics company. He wore nicer suits, started coming home later. At first I was proud of him. He'd talk about meetings, bonuses, his boss praising him. I would listen while stirring spaghetti sauce, nodding, asking questions. I didn't mind the late nights. I told myself this was just what success looked like. But something shifted over time. He stopped asking about my day, stopped noticing when I cut my hair, when I wore a new dress, when I was tired. One night I waited up for him. It was past midnight. I was sitting at the kitchen table, a cold cup of tea in front of me. When he walked in, I said, "You okay?" He didn't even look at me, just shrugged. Long day. That became his favorite phrase. Long day, short answers, longer silences. We still functioned, packed lunches, paid bills, went to school events, but it felt like we were roommates running a household, not a couple sharing a life. I tried to fix it. Date nights, notes in his lunch bag. One time I surprised him with tickets to a show he liked. He smiled, thanked me, but it didn't reach his eyes. Then came the first real crack. I found a receipt in his jacket pocket. A fancy restaurant downtown. 2 meals, 2 drinks, dessert. It was dated a night he told me he worked late. When I asked him, he laughed it off. Work dinner, client. I wanted to believe him. I needed to. But doubt has a way of sticking once it shows up, like a splinter you can't quite pull out. Over the next few months I noticed more. His phone always face down, password changed. He took calls outside, started dressing sharper, wearing cologne again, not for me. I felt foolish for even thinking it. We had 2 kids, a mortgage, history, who just throws that away. One evening while folding laundry, I found a hotel key card in his pants pocket. My heart dropped to my stomach. I stood there holding it like it might burn me. When he came home, I placed it on the counter. "What's this?" I asked. He stared at it. For a second, just a second, he looked scared. Then his face hardened. "You went through my pockets." I couldn't believe that was his focus. "Mark, a hotel card, explain." He sighed, rubbing his temples. "You're being paranoid, Clara. It's from a work trip. I forgot to throw it away." Something in his voice felt off, flat, rehearsed. That night, I cried in the shower so the kids wouldn't hear. I didn't confront him again for weeks. I told myself I was imagining things, that marriage has rough patches, that I needed to try harder. Then one afternoon my friend Jenna called. We'd been close since college. She hesitated before speaking, and that alone scared me. "Clara," she said softly, "I don't know how to tell you this." My heart started racing. "Tell me what?" "I saw Mark at that new cafe near my office. He was with a woman." I went cold. "What do you mean with a woman?" "They were holding hands, Clara, and he kissed her." I felt like the room tilted. "Are you sure?" "I wish I was." I thanked her and hung up. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at nothing. My ears rang, my hands shook. That night when Mark came home, I didn't wait. "Who is she?" I asked. He froze. "What?" "Jenna saw you, don't lie." For a long moment he said nothing. Then he sighed like I'd asked him to take out the trash. "It just happened," he said. "I didn't plan it. Just happened, like a spilled drink, like a missed turn." "Are you sleeping with her?" My voice barely worked. He nodded. I don't remember everything I said after that. I know I cried, I know I yelled. I know he kept saying he was sorry, but he didn't look sorry. He looked relieved, like he'd been waiting for this. "I'm not happy, Clara," he said. "I haven't been for a long time." I stared at him. "You think I have been? You think marriage is supposed to be fireworks every day?" "She understands me," he said. "We connect." It felt like a knife. "Does she know you're married?" I asked. "She does. And she's okay with it." He didn't answer. That was the night everything broke. We tried counseling. He went twice, then said it was pointless. He moved into the guest room, stopped coming home some nights. The kids started noticing. Emma asked why Daddy didn't eat dinner with us anymore. I didn't know what to say. One morning, he sat me down at the kitchen table. "I want a divorce." I had been waiting for it, and it still hit me like a punch. "I don't want to fight," he added. "Let's keep it civil." Civil, as if he hadn't just burned our life down. The divorce process was brutal. Lawyers, paperwork, numbers that felt like they were cutting pieces off me. Mark hired an expensive attorney. I couldn't afford much. I trusted him when he said he wanted things to be fair. That was my mistake. We split the kids' time. He pushed for more assets. The house, his retirement accounts, the car. He argued that his income built most of it, that I worked part-time by choice, that I was comfortable. I felt invisible in that courtroom. Like all the years I spent raising our kids, keeping our home, supporting his career didn't count. In the end, he walked away with the house, his accounts untouched. I got a small settlement and our old sedan. When the judge finalized it, Mark shook my hand like we were business partners ending a deal. "Take care, Clara," he said. I wanted to scream. That's how I ended up standing in our empty living room, watching him carry out the last box. That's how he walked away with everything. After he left, I stayed there a while. Then I picked up my phone and called my sister, Rebecca. "He's gone," I said. She didn't ask who, she knew. "I'm coming," she said. That night I slept on a mattress in a small apartment I'd rented across town. It smelled like fresh paint and loneliness. The walls were bare, the fridge empty. I stared at the ceiling, listening to pipes creak. My chest ached. I kept thinking, how did this happen? How did I let him take so much? I felt like a fool, like I'd trusted the wrong person with my whole life. But I didn't know yet that this wasn't the end of my story, or his. The first morning in that apartment, I woke up disoriented. For a second, I thought I was still in our old house. I reached out, expecting to feel Mark's warm back beside me or Buddy's tail thumping against the bed. Instead, my hand met cold air. The silence felt heavy, like a blanket I couldn't shake off. The place was small. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, a narrow kitchen with cabinets that didn't quite close right. I sat up and rubbed my face, feeling the roughness of dried tears on my cheeks. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. A message from Emma. "Mom, can I come over after school today?" My heart clenched. "Of course, sweetheart," I typed back. "Anytime." I dragged myself out of bed and stood in front of the mirror. I barely recognized the woman staring back. Dark circles under her eyes, hair tangled, shoulders slumped. 20 years of marriage had ended and I looked like it. I made coffee with the cheap machine the landlord left behind. It tasted burnt, but I drank it anyway. The smell reminded me of all the mornings I'd made coffee for Mark, leaving his mug by the door so he could grab it on his way out. I used to draw a little heart in the foam sometimes. He never noticed. By mid-morning, Rebecca arrived with grocery bags and her usual no-nonsense energy. "Okay," she said, setting the bags down. "We're going to make this place feel like home." I smiled weakly. "Thanks for coming." She hugged me tight. "You don't get through this alone." We unpacked groceries, filled the fridge, hung a few pictures. She brought one of Emma and Lucas at the beach last summer. Seeing their smiling faces gave me a small spark of warmth. "How are you really?" she asked, leaning against the counter. I hesitated, angry, sad, mostly embarrassed. "Embarrassed?" "I trusted him," I said. "I let him walk all over me in court. I feel stupid." Rebecca shook her head. "You're not stupid, you're kind, there's a difference." I wanted to believe her. The kids came over that afternoon. Emma hugged me tight. Lucas pretended not to care, but he lingered longer than usual. "This is small," he said, looking around. "It is," I admitted, "but it's ours." Emma smiled. "I like it." That night after they left, I sat on the floor with a slice of pizza and cried again. Parenting after divorce felt like tearing myself in half of me with them, half of me missing them. Mark didn't call to check on me. He didn't ask if I was okay, but he did send a text about switching weekends. "Work trip," he wrote, "need to adjust schedule. Always work, always first." Weeks passed. I tried to settle into a routine, picked up extra shifts at the bookstore. My feet ached, but it felt good to be busy. I met a woman named Leela who worked the register with me. She was younger, sharp-tongued, funny. "You're too nice," she told me once while we restocked shelves. "Men walk all over women like you." I laughed awkwardly. "I guess." "No," she said, "not guess. Promise me you'll stop apologizing for everything." I didn't realize how often I said sorry until then. Meanwhile, Mark moved into a townhouse with his girlfriend. Her name was Vanessa. I found out from Emma, who said it like she was talking about a new TV show. "She has a big dog," Emma said, "and a pool." I nodded, trying to smile. "That's nice." Inside, it felt like someone punched me, not because of the pool, because my kids were meeting the woman who helped break our family. "Does Daddy seem happy?" I asked carefully. Emma shrugged. "I guess he laughs more." That hurt more than anything. One evening, while scrolling on my phone, I saw a picture on Mark's social media. He rarely posted before. Now there he was, smiling with Vanessa at some rooftop bar, city lights behind them. Caption: "New beginnings." I threw my phone onto the couch. New beginnings, like the old ones, meant nothing. I blocked him that night. I needed space. A month later, Rebecca called me excited. "You'll never guess who I ran into," she said. "Who?" "Mark." My stomach flipped. "Where?" "At the mall. He was buying something at that expensive tech store. Big boxes. Looked like he was furnishing a whole new life." "Great," I muttered. "He tried to act all friendly," she continued. "Asked about you. I told him you're doing fine." I smiled a little. "Thanks." "He looked tired," she added. That surprised me. "Tired?" "Yeah, like the life's being sucked out of him." But I brushed it off. Mark always had dark circles. Stress was his natural state. But over the next few months, small things started coming back to me. A mutual friend mentioned Mark was struggling at work. Missed a deadline. Boss wasn't happy. Another said Vanessa quit her job. something about wanting to focus on them. I didn't care, or at least I pretended not to. Then one day I got a call from Mark's mother, Helen. We were never close, but we were polite. "Clara," she said, "can we meet for coffee?" My heart pounded. Sure. We met at a quiet cafe. She looked older than I remembered, grey hair pulled back, hands trembling slightly. "I wanted to apologize," she said. "For what?" "For not standing up for you," she said, "during the divorce." I stared at her. "You supported him, he's your son." "Yes," she admitted, "but that doesn't make him right." Tears welled in her eyes. "He made choices, bad ones." I didn't know what to say. "He's not doing well," she continued. "His job is on the line, and things with Vanessa aren't what he thought." A small, guilty part of me felt relief. "I'm not here to gossip," she said. "I just wanted you to know I see now how much you did for him." That meant more than I expected. After she left, I sat there for a while staring at my coffee. It had gone cold. Mark losing his job, his relationship struggling, part of me felt vindicated. Another part felt sad. I remembered the man I married, the one who laughed at burnt grilled cheese. But then I remembered how he looked at me when he asked for a divorce, cold, detached. You can miss someone and still not want them back. That night I dreamed about our old house. I walked through empty rooms calling his name. He never answered. The next week I got a call from Mark himself. I almost didn't answer. "Hello," I said. "Clara," he said, his voice sounded shaky. "Can we talk?" "What about?" "Just us." My chest tightened. "We don't have an us anymore." "Please," he said, "just coffee." Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a diner we used to go to after Emma's soccer games. He was already there, stirring his coffee nervously. He looked different, thinner, suit wrinkled, eyes tired. "Thanks for coming," he said. I nodded. "What do you want?" He took a breath. "I messed up." I almost laughed. "That's an understatement." "I thought I wanted freedom," he said. "I thought I was stuck, but I threw away something real." I stared at him. "You didn't throw it away, you chose to burn it." He winced. "Fair." "What about Vanessa?" I asked. He hesitated. "We fight a lot. She wants things I can't give, and I might lose my job." I didn't respond. "I miss my family," he said. "The kids, you." My heart twisted, but I stayed quiet. "Do you think we could ever?" he trailed off. I leaned forward. "No." He blinked. "No." "No," I repeated. "You don't get to break me and then come back when it's inconvenient." His eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry." "So am I," said, "for the woman I was who believed you." We sat in silence. "I hope you find what you're looking for," I added, standing up, "but it won't be with me." I walked out, my legs shaking. Outside, I leaned against the wall and took a deep breath. It hurt, but it also felt powerful, like I'd finally chosen myself. After that, things slowly started to shift for me. I joined a book club, made new friends. Leela dragged me out for karaoke one night. I sang badly and laughed harder than I had in years. I started jogging in the mornings. At first I could barely make it down the block. Eventually I made it around the park. My lungs burned, but it felt like proof I was alive. One day Emma told me, "Mom, you smile more now." That nearly broke me. "Really?" "Yeah," she said, "you're happier." I hugged her tight. "I'm trying." Then came the call that changed everything. Mark was fired. I heard it from Helen first, then from a mutual friend. Downsizing, they said, but rumors swirled about his mistakes, missed deadlines, poor decisions. Vanessa left him soon after, packed her things and moved out while he was at work, or unemployed, I guess. I didn't celebrate, I didn't gloat. I just sat quietly in my kitchen, staring at the wall. Life had other plans for him. A week later, he showed up at my door. I wasn't expecting it. The kids were at school. I opened the door and froze. "Clara," he said, eyes red, "can I come in?" I hesitated. "Why?" "I don't have anywhere else to go," he said softly. My heart pounded. "Mark, this is not." "I lost my job," he said. "Vanessa's gone, I just need to talk." I looked at him for a long moment. The man who walked away with everything now stood on my doorstep with nothing. I stepped aside. He sat on my small couch looking around. This place, it's nice. It's home, I said simply. He swallowed. I messed up. I know, I replied. I don't expect forgiveness, he said. I see now what I lost. I didn't answer, because part of me wanted to scream and part of me wanted to hug him, and neither was right. We sat there in silence, the clock ticking loudly just like in our old house. This was the moment I realized something. I wasn't the same woman he left behind. I was stronger now, and whatever came next I would choose myself first. Mark sat there on my couch, shoulders slumped, hands clasped like he was waiting for a verdict. The silence stretched between us. I could hear the fridge humming, the distant sound of a lawnmower outside, ordinary sounds in a very unordinary moment. I never thought it would end like this, he finally said. I looked at him. You didn't think at all, that was the problem. He nodded slowly. You're right. There was a time when hearing him admit that would have felt like victory. Now it just felt heavy. What do you want from me? I asked. I don't know, he admitted. Advice, understanding, maybe just to not feel so alone. I leaned back in my chair. You chose this, Mark, you chose her, you chose to walk away. I know, he whispered. Every day I replay it, the moment I packed my things, the way you looked at me. His voice cracked. I felt a flicker of sympathy and hated myself for it. Do you remember when Lucas was born? He asked suddenly. You wouldn't let go of my hand. I closed my eyes. I remembered. The hospital room smelled like antiseptic, my body shaking, his face pale with fear. He held my hand like it was the only thing keeping him upright. I remember, I said quietly. I was so scared, he continued, and you were the strong one. Something in my chest softened, then hardened again. That was a long time ago. He nodded. I lost sight of that. You didn't lose sight, I corrected. You ignored it. He looked down. After a while I stood up. Mark, you can't stay here. This is my space, my life now. He flinched. I know, I just needed to see you. To tell you I'm sorry. I crossed my arms. I hope you mean it. I do, he said. Then respect my boundaries, I replied. That's how you show it. He stood up slowly. Thank you for letting me in. I walked him to the door. When he left, I locked it behind him and slid down against it, breathing hard. My hands were shaking. I didn't cry, not this time. I felt empty, but also proud. That evening, I met Rebecca for dinner. You let him in? She asked, eyes wide. I know, I said. Stupid. Not stupid, she corrected. Human. I sighed. He's falling apart. She shrugged. That's not your job to fix. I know, I said. I needed to see him like that. Closure, she said. Maybe. Weeks passed. Mark didn't come back. He texted once to thank me for listening. I didn't reply. Meanwhile, my life kept moving forward. I applied for a full-time position at the bookstore. To my surprise, I got it. Benefits, stable income. I cried in my car after the interview. Emma hugged me when I told her, "Go, Mom." Lucas high-fived me. Does this mean pizza? Yes, I laughed. Always. I started therapy too, sitting in that small office talking about my marriage, my fears, my anger. Some days I left feeling lighter, other days exhausted. One session my therapist asked, "What do you want now, Clara?" I stared at the carpet. Peace. She smiled. Good answer. One afternoon, I ran into Vanessa at the grocery store. I almost didn't recognize her, hair in a messy bun, no makeup, eyes tired. She froze when she saw me. Clara. Vanessa, I said. An awkward silence hung between us. I'm sorry, she blurted out. I raised an eyebrow. For what? For everything, she said. I didn't think it would hurt like this. I didn't think he'd treat me the way he treated you. I crossed my arms, and yet you stayed. I know, she whispered. I was stupid. I sighed. We all are sometimes. She looked surprised. You don't hate me. I don't have the energy, I said honestly. She nodded. He's not who he pretends to be. I almost laughed. I know. We stood there, two women connected by the same mistake. I hope you find happiness, she said. Same, I replied. We walked away in opposite directions. I felt lighter after that, like I'd finally closed a door I didn't even know was still open. That weekend, Emma had a school play. Mark didn't show up, he texted last minute. Sorry, car trouble. I sat in the audience watching Emma sing, her eyes scanning the crowd. When she spotted me, she smiled. I waved back, my throat tight. After the show, she ran to me. Did you see me? Every second, I said. Dad wasn't there, she said quietly. I knelt in front of her. I know, but he loves you. She nodded, but her eyes looked sad. That broke my heart more than anything Mark ever did to me. That night I cried for my kids, not for myself. Months passed, Mark stopped calling, stopped texting. Rumor had it he moved in with a friend, took a lower-paying job, life humbled him. One evening I found an old photo while cleaning. Mark and I on our honeymoon, laughing, sunburned. I stared at it for a long time. Who were we? I whispered. I didn't hate him, I didn't love him either. I felt acceptance. Then one day I got a letter. It was from Mark. Clara, it read. I don't know if you'll read this, I don't deserve it. I just wanted to say thank you for the years you gave me. I see now how selfish I was. I'm working on myself, I hope you're happy. Truly. I folded it and placed it in a drawer, not as a reminder of pain but as proof I survived. A few weeks later, Helen invited me over for tea. You don't have to come, she said, I just miss you. I went. We sat in her small living room, sipping chamomile. He's trying, she said about Mark, going to counseling, working a simple job, living modestly. I nodded, good. Do you think he deserves another chance? She asked carefully. With life, I said, yes, with me, no. She smiled sadly, fair. When I left her house, I felt at peace, like I finally understood that forgiveness doesn't mean reopening doors, it means closing them gently. One morning, while jogging, I passed the park where Mark used to play catch with Lucas. I paused for a moment, then kept running. Forward, always forward. Life settled into a rhythm I didn't think I'd ever find again. Wake up early, coffee, jog around the park, get the kids ready for school on my days, head to the bookstore, come home tired but satisfied. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine. One afternoon at work, Leela leaned over the counter and whispered, There's a guy who keeps coming in just to browse near your section. I rolled my eyes, please. I'm serious, she said, tall, kind eyes, bad at pretending. That made me laugh. Stop. But later I noticed him. He was pretending to read the back of a mystery novel, glancing at me every few seconds. When our eyes met, he smiled sheepishly. I helped him find a book. His name was Andrew. He was a history teacher at the local high school, divorced too. We started talking, at first about books, then about kids, life, mistakes. He asked me out for coffee. I hesitated, then said yes. The first date was awkward. We both laughed too much, talked too fast, but it felt easy. I didn't tell him everything, not right away, he didn't push. Weeks passed, we met for walks, coffee, one dinner. He was kind, patient, never rushed me. One night he asked, Are you ready for this? For what? Something new. I thought about it. I don't know, but I'm willing to try. At the same time, Mark's life continued unraveling quietly. Helen told me he was behind on bills. His pride took a hit. One afternoon he called me again. I almost ignored it. Clara, he said, I just wanted to tell you I'm proud of you. That caught me off guard. For what? For moving on, for being strong. I didn't know what to say. Thank you. I mean it, he said. You always deserved better. I hope you find your peace, I replied. You too, he said. We hung up. I felt strange. Closure doesn't come with fireworks, it comes quietly. Andrew met the kids slowly. Just ice cream at first, then a movie night. They liked him, that mattered. One evening Emma said, He listens. I smiled, that's important. Andrew never tried to replace their father. He respected boundaries. That made me respect him more. One Saturday, Mark showed up unexpectedly to drop off the kids. He saw Andrew's car. Who's that? He asked. Someone I'm seeing, I replied calmly. His jaw tightened. Already? Time doesn't stop because you messed up, I said gently. He nodded. I deserve that. He didn't argue, just hugged the kids and left. That night I sat alone thinking. I didn't feel guilty, I felt free. Mark's choices caught up with him. He had to sell his townhouse, couldn't keep up with payments, moved into a small apartment. I didn't celebrate, but I noticed the balance of life. The man who once walked away with everything now struggled to hold onto the basics. Meanwhile, I was building something new, slowly, carefully. Andrew asked me one evening, "Do you still love him?" I thought long and hard. I care about who he was, but I love who I am now. He smiled. That's healthy. One morning I got a call from Helen. Her voice trembled. He's in the hospital, she said. My heart skipped. What happened? Stress, chest pains. They say he'll be okay. I hesitated. Do you need me? I just thought you should know, she said. I sat there, phone in hand, unsure what to feel. Fear, concern, but not panic. Andrew squeezed my hand when I told him. Do you want to see him? He asked. I don't know, I admitted. That night I couldn't sleep. I thought about all the years, the good and the bad, how quickly life changes. In the morning, I went to the hospital. Mark looked small in that bed, pale, tubes attached. He opened his eyes when he saw me. You came. I did, I said. Thank you. We talked quietly. He apologized again. I listened. I'm scared, he admitted. That's human, I said. Take care of the kids, he whispered. Always, I promised. When I left, I felt peace. I'd shown kindness without reopening wounds. A week later, Helen called again. He's moving in with me, she said, to recover. I nodded. That's good. He keeps talking about regrets, she added. Tell him to focus on healing, I said. Life went on. Andrew and I grew closer. I laughed more, slept better. One evening he said, I don't want to rush you, but I see a future. I smiled. So do I. I didn't know where it would lead, but I knew I was no longer afraid. The seasons changed, and with them, something inside me softened. Autumn painted the trees outside my apartment in shades of gold and red. I loved watching the leaves fall, like little reminders that letting go could be beautiful too. Andrew and I started spending more time together. Cooking dinners, walking Buddy around the neighborhood. Yes, Buddy lived with me now. Mark couldn't keep him in his new place. When Mark dropped Buddy off, the dog ran straight to me, tail wagging like he'd never left. I knelt on the floor, hugging him, tears in my eyes. Looks like he chose you, Andrew said with a smile. Guess so, I laughed. Mark stood awkwardly by the door. Take good care of him. I always did, I replied gently. He nodded. I know. That night, as Buddy curled up at my feet, I felt whole in a way I hadn't in years. At work I got a promotion. Assistant manager, more responsibility, more hours, more pay. Rebecca squealed when I told her, look at you. I know, I laughed. Who would have thought? She raised her glass, to Clara too. Andrew met my sister for the first time. Rebecca liked him instantly. He's good for you, she told me later. I can see it. That meant everything. Mark, on the other hand, struggled. Living with his mother bruised his ego. He took a job at a warehouse, long hours, lower pay. One afternoon he texted me, I start a new job today. Good luck, I replied. That's it, he wrote. What else do you want, I asked. Never mind, he sent back. I didn't feel guilty. He didn't get emotional access anymore. Emma and Lucas adjusted slowly. They were polite with Andrew, comfortable but cautious. One evening Lucas said, Dad used to yell a lot. My heart clenched. I know. Andrew doesn't, he added. I smiled. That's because Andrew listens. Mark missed another school event. Emma stopped expecting him. That hurt more than anything. One night I found Emma crying in her room. What's wrong? I asked. Dad forgot my birthday dinner, she sobbed. My heart broke. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. She wiped her eyes. It's okay, Andrew took me out instead. I hugged her. I'm glad you felt loved. I didn't tell Mark, he didn't deserve that power. A few weeks later, Helen invited us all to dinner. Mark was there. It was awkward. Andrew stayed home. I went alone with the kids. Mark tried too hard, jokes, compliments. Emma stayed quiet. After dinner, Mark pulled me aside. Are you happy? He asked. Yes, I said honestly. With him, he pressed. Yes. He nodded slowly. Good. There was pain in his eyes, regret too late. Later, Helen whispered, Thank you for being kind. I'm doing it for the kids, I replied. That night, Mark texted me, I see now what I lost. I didn't respond. Andrew and I took a weekend trip, just a cabin, no phones, fresh air. One evening, sitting by the fire, he said, You don't have to carry your past like a weight. I looked at him. I know, I'm learning to put it down. He took my hand. I'm here. That was enough. Months later, Mark called again. His voice sounded defeated. I might have to file for bankruptcy, he said. I stayed quiet. I never thought this would be my life, he whispered. I tried to tell you, I said gently, choices matter. He sighed, I know. I hung up feeling sad but not responsible. Meanwhile, my life blossomed, friends, work, love. One evening, Andrew cooked me dinner, burnt the chicken, we laughed like teenagers. You're terrible at this, I teased. Still better than your grilled cheese, he shot back. We laughed until our sides hurt. I realized then this is what peace feels like. Mark showed up unexpectedly again one day, asking if he could see the kids. They're at school, I said, you should plan ahead. He looked embarrassed, I didn't think. Exactly, I replied. He sighed, you're right. He was finally learning. Life has a funny way of teaching lessons when we ignore them. Winter came quietly that year, the kind of cold that seeps into your bones but also makes hot tea taste better. I found comfort in small routines, lighting a candle after work, wrapping myself in a blanket, watching silly shows with the kids on the couch while Buddy snored at our feet. Andrew fit into our lives naturally. He didn't force anything. He showed up to school events, to bad days, to quiet evenings. One night after the kids went to bed, he said, I love you. My heart skipped, not in fear, in warmth. I love you too, I whispered. It felt different than it did with Mark, calmer, safer, like standing on solid ground instead of shifting sand. Meanwhile, Mark kept unraveling. Helen called me again one afternoon. He's drinking, she admitted, not all the time but more than he should. I closed my eyes. I'm sorry. He won't listen to me, she said. Maybe you could talk to him. I hesitated. I'm not the right person anymore. I know, she sighed. I just don't know what to do. That night I couldn't stop thinking about it, about how someone I once loved was destroying himself. But I also knew I couldn't save him. A week later, Mark showed up at my door again. He looked worse than before, unshaven, eyes red. Can I come in? He asked. No, I said gently, not this time. He flinched. I just needed to see you. I'm sorry, I replied. This isn't healthy. I ruined everything, he whispered. Yes, I said softly, but you can still choose better now. He looked at me like he wanted to believe that. Get help, I added, real help. He nodded slowly. Okay. I watched him walk away, knowing that this time I truly meant goodbye. A month later, Helen told me he started therapy, support group too. I'm proud of him, she said. So am I replied. I meant it. Spring arrived, bringing warmth and fresh starts. Andrew asked me to move in together. I panicked, old fears resurfaced. I need time, I said. Of course, he replied, take all the time you need. That made me trust him more. One afternoon while cleaning, I found my old wedding ring. I stared at it for a long time. Then I walked to the window, opened it, and tossed it into the trash outside. It felt like releasing a breath I'd been holding for years. Emma noticed. You okay, Mom? Yes, I smiled. Better than okay. Mark's life stayed humble. Warehouse job, small room at Helen. He called once, sober clear. I'm proud of you, he said. Thank you, I replied. I see your photos, he added. You look happy. I am, I said. He paused. I'm glad. That was the first time his words felt genuine. Andrew and I took another trip, this time with the kids, camping, s'mores, laughter. Lucas said, this feels like a family. My heart melted. It is, I replied. Not perfect, but real. One evening, Andrew got down on one knee. My breath caught. Clara, he said, I don't want to replace your past. I want to honor it by building something better. Will you marry me? Tears filled my eyes, not from fear, from gratitude. Yes, I whispered, yes. The kids cheered. Life felt full, whole. A few days later I told Mark, not to hurt him, just out of honesty. He was quiet, then he said, you deserve it. Thank you, I replied. I'll always regret what I did, he admitted, but I'm glad you're happy. That was enough. Planning a wedding at this stage of my life felt strange and beautiful at the same time. No big dreams of a white castle or perfect photos, just something simple, honest, us. Andrew and I chose a small garden venue, string lights, folding chairs, wildflowers. The kids helped pick colors. Emma wanted soft pink, Lucas wanted blue. We compromised. Rebecca cried when I showed her my dress. You look like yourself again, she said. I feel like myself, I replied. Mark didn't come to the wedding. He sent a short message. I wish you all the happiness you deserve. I believed him. The day was warm, birds chirping, Buddy running around like he owned the place. Andrew looked at me like I was the only person in the world. When I walked down the aisle, I wasn't thinking about the past. I wasn't scared. I felt calm, ready. I take you, I said, voice steady, not because I need you, but because I choose you. Andrew smiled. I choose you too. We kissed, applause, tears, laughter. Later that evening, Emma hugged me. Mom, you look really happy. I am, I said, thank you. Life didn't magically become perfect after that. There were still bills, stress, bad days. But there was love, respect, peace. Mark stayed on his path of recovery. Helen told me he was doing better, sober, working, quiet. One afternoon, he came to pick up the kids. He looked healthier, clearer. I just wanted to say congratulations, he said. Thank you, I replied. I'm glad you found what I couldn't give you, he said softly. I nodded. I hope you find it too. He smiled, a real one this time. Watching him walk away, I felt something settle inside me. Not anger, not sadness, acceptance. He walked away with everything once. But life taught him what he lost. And it taught me what I gained. Strength, self-respect, a second chance. I learned that sometimes, losing everything is what finally helps you find yourself. If you're still here with me, thank you for listening to my story. I shared it because I know there are so many of you walking through quiet storms, smiling on the outside while your heart is breaking on the inside, wondering how someone you loved could walk away and take pieces of you with them. I used to think losing everything meant I failed, but now I see it differently. Losing him gave me myself back. It taught me that love should never make you feel small, that peace is worth more than familiarity, and that sometimes the hardest endings lead to the most beautiful beginnings. So let me ask you something from my heart to yours. If someone walked away from you today, would you choose to chase them, or would you choose yourself for once? Tell me in the comments. I truly want to know your story. And if this touched you, please share it with someone who needs a little hope tonight. You never know whose life you might change. This is Clara, reminding you that your worth doesn't depend on who stays or who leaves. It depends on how bravely you keep standing. Until next time, take care of your heart.